The 1st Ranger Battalion, currently based at Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah, Georgia, United States, is the first of 3 Ranger battalions belonging to the United States Army's 75th Ranger Regiment. It was originally formed shortly after the United States' entry into World War II and was modeled after the British Commandos during the war. Members from the unit were the first American soldiers to see combat in the European theater when they participated in the failed raid on Dieppe in France in 1942, during which 3 Rangers were killed and several more were captured. Later, the 1st Ranger Battalion was sent to North Africa where they participated in the landings in Algeria and the fighting in Tunisia in 1943. Also in 1943 the unit provided cadre for 2 more Ranger battalions created between the campaigns in Sicily and Italy. After World War II, the 1st Ranger Battalion has gone through a number of changes of name and composition as it has been activated, deactivated and reorganized on a number of occasions. However, the unit has lived on in one form or another since then, serving in the Korean and Vietnam Wars before being consolidated into the 75th Ranger Regiment, of which it is a part today. Recent deployments have included operations in both Iraq and Afghanistan as part of the wider global war on terrorism. History. Formation: Major General Lucien Truscott, U.S. Army, in liaison with the British General Staff, submitted proposals to General George Marshall that we undertake immediately an American unit along the lines of the British Commandos in 1942. A subsequent cable from the U.S. Department of War authorized the activation of the 1st U.S. Army Ranger Battalion. After much deliberation, Company A, 1st Ranger Battalion was constituted on the 27th of May 1942. Captain William Orlando Darby, 31-year-old graduate of West Point with amphibious training, was chosen as its commanding officer. Within weeks he was promoted to major for his efforts in organizing the unit. Of the 1,500 men to volunteer for the original Ranger Battalion, only 600 were chosen. 80% of these original Rangers came from the Red Bulls U.S. 34th Infantry Division. On 19 June 1942, Company A, 1st Ranger Battalion, was officially activated in Carrickfergus, Northern Ireland. A select team of 4 officers toured the existing commando training camps and selected the centre at Achnacarry, Scotland for the Rangers. Here they underwent intense training. Coached by the battle-seasoned commando instructors, the Rangers learned the basics of commando warfare. 500 of the 600 volunteers that Darby brought with him to Achnacarry completed the commando training. Many could not endure the exercises. 1 Ranger was killed, while several others were wounded in training so realistic that it was executed under live fire. World War II 1st Battalion goes active. The first Americans to see active combat in the European theater of World War II were 44 enlisted men and 5 officers from the 1st Ranger Battalion, dispersed among the Canadians and the British Commandos. These men were the first American ground soldiers to see action against the Germans in the disastrous Dieppe raid, officially known as Operation Rutter. 3 Rangers were killed and several captured. The first American soldier killed in Europe in World War II was part of the Dieppe raid, Ranger Lieutenant E.V. Laustalot. During the mission, the British captain leading the assault was killed. Laustalot took command and with his men attacked a clifftop machine gun nest. Scaling the steep cliff, Laustalot was wounded 3 times and then was killed by enemy crossfire. North Africa. The first efforts to stop the German infiltration of Europe were by the 1st Ranger Battalion, attempting to prevent German occupation of seaports in North Africa. The 1st Ranger Battalion spearheaded an invasion at the port of Azua in Algeria. This was accomplished by executing a surprise night landing, silencing 2 gun batteries, and opening the way for the capture of Oran, in Tunisia in 1943. The 1st Battalion executed the 1st Ranger behind the lines night raid for the purpose of gaining information and terrorizing the enemy. On the 11th of February the Rangers took a 32-mile journey, 12 on foot, for their first raid on an Italian camp at Sens Station. Using the cloak of night, the Rangers slipped in 50 yards of the Italian outpost and began their attack. It took the battalion only 20 minutes to achieve area control. 50 enemy were killed and an additional 10 were taken prisoner. Dieppe, along with fellow commanders, was awarded the Silver Star for this victory, and the battalion itself gained the nickname the Black Death by the Italians. Later, in March, American units were decimated time and again while trying to break through the critical mountain pass at Dieppe. Given this mission, the 1st Rangers undertook a 12-mile night march through rugged terrain to reach the heights of Dieppe, where, at dawn, the Rangers surprised the enemy from the rear, capturing 200 prisoners and giving General Patton an opening through which he began the final and victorious battle in North Africa. Rangers played a crucial role in the Battle of Algeria, which immediately followed, for which the 1st Ranger Battalion won its first presidential unit citation. Sicily and Italy. The early success of the 1st Ranger Battalion brought about the creation of the 3rd and 4th Battalions. The original 1st Battalion was divided into thirds. 1/3 of the headquarters in each company was placed in each of the battalions 1, 3, 4. 3rd Ranger Battalion was activated on the 21st of May 1943 at Nemours, Morocco, while 4th Ranger Battalion was activated on the 29th of May 1943 in Tunisia. To provide command and control for these 3 Ranger battalions, the 6,615th Ranger Force was established. This force was rounded out with the addition of the 83rd Chemical Mortar Battalion, and the 509th Parachute Infantry Regiment. The battle-seasoned 1st Battalion moved into their newly assigned positions and trained their Ranger colleagues. The 1, 3, 4 battalions were trained under Dieppe in Nemours, Morocco, and prepared for the invasion of Sicily and Italy. Had it not been for the accomplishments of the 1st Ranger Battalion in the early entry of World War II, there would be no Rangers today. Their successful invasions in North Africa opened the sea and its ports for the Allied forces. The Allies were now able to move ships and equipment to support subsequent campaigns, enabling the later forces to successfully infiltrate enemy lines along the African coast, in Sicily, and up into Italy. The Ranger Force targeted Salerno on the 9th of September 1943, and participated in the Naples-Foggia campaign. Then they moved on to Anzio on the 22nd of January 1944. The entire 6,615th Ranger Force was destroyed behind enemy lines in a heavily outnumbered encounter at Cisterna, Italy on the 31st of January 1944, and was officially disbanded on the 15th of August 1944. The 4th Ranger Battalion suffered some casualties while attempting to break through enemy lines to rescue their comrades in the 1st and 3rd Battalions. The 1st, 3rd, and 4th Battalions were known as Derby's Rangers. Post-war, the 1st Ranger Infantry Battalion, in response to parallel missions in Berlin, was reconstituted on the 1st of September 1948 as Company A, 1st Infantry Battalion, and activated in the Canal Zone. It served there until it was inactivated on 4 January 1950. Korea. The outbreak of hostilities in Korea in June 1950 again signaled the need for Rangers. Colonel John Gibson Van Houten was selected by the Army Chief of Staff to head the Ranger training program at FD. Benning, Georgia. 1st Ranger Infantry Company departed from FD Benning, Georgia on 15 November 1950, and arrived in Korea on 17 December 1950, where it was attached to the 2nd Infantry Division. The 1st Ranger Infantry Company opened with an extraordinary example of land navigation, then executed a daring night raid 9 miles behind enemy lines, destroying an enemy complex. The enemy installation was later identified by a prisoner as the headquarters of the 12th North Korean Division. Caught by surprise and unaware of the size of the American force, 2 North Korean regiments hastily withdrew from the area. The 1st Company was in the middle of the major Battle of Chipyeong-mi in the May Massacre. It was awarded 2 Distinguished Unit citations. As a result of budgetary considerations, the U.S. Army spent much of the 1950s and 1960s consolidating and redesignating units that were on inactive status. This unit was redesignated the 24th of November 1952 as Company A, 1st Ranger Infantry Battalion, in inactive status, and was consolidated on 15 April 1960 with the A Company, 1st Battalion, 1st Regiment, 1st Special Service Force, and the consolidated unit was redesignated as Headquarters and Headquarters Company, 7th Special Forces Group, 1st Special Forces Group. The unit was further consolidated the 6th of June 1960 with Headquarters and Headquarters Company, 77th Special Forces Group, and the consolidated unit was designated as Headquarters and Headquarters Company, 7th SFG, 1st SFG. Vietnam on 1 January 1969, under the new U.S. Army Combat Arms Regimental System. U.S. Army Rangers were reformed in South Vietnam as the 75th Infantry Regiment. 15 companies of Rangers, 2 of which were based in the USA, were raided from units that had been performing missions in Europe since the late 1950s and in Vietnam since 1966. His long-range reconnaissance, patrol and long-range patrol companies, current after the Vietnam conflict, division and brigade commandos determined that the U.S. Army needed an elite, rapid deployment, light infantry, so in 1974 General Creighton Abrams charged General Kenneth C. Lewer with the task of activating, organizing, training and leading the 1st battalion-sized Ranger unit since World War II. Because of the success of the 1st Ranger Battalion, 8 months later, the 2nd Ranger Battalion was constituted, and in 1984 the 3rd Ranger Battalion and the regimental headquarters were created. The 1st Ranger Battalion have participated in the following operations: the 1980 rescue attempt of American hostages, Tehran, Iran in Operation Urgent Fury on Grenada in 1983, the U.S. invasion of Panama in 1989, Bravo Company, 1st Battalion was deployed in the First Persian Gulf War in 1991, soldiers from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Ranger Battalions deployed to Haiti in 1994 from the Haitian coast. The entire Ranger Regiment is on deployment since the start of the Iraq War in 2003. Since December 2001, after the events of 9/11, elements of Headquarters Company and Company A deployed in support of Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. In 2002, the entire battalion returned to Afghanistan to support the continuing war on terrorism. Members of the battalion were involved in the Battle of Takurga during Operation Anaconda. In 2003, 1st Battalion participated in combat operations in support of Iraq War, conducting missions across the entire country of Iraq. The battalion distinguished itself during the successful rescue of the prisoner of war, PFC, Jessica Lynch. The battalion currently supports the global war on terrorism, regularly rotating elements to Afghanistan, continuing to successfully dismantle terrorist networks. Primary tasks include direct action, national and international emergency crisis response, airfield seizure, airborne and AMP, air assault operations, special reconnaissance, intelligence and AMP, counterintelligence, combat search and rescue, personnel recovery and AMP, hostage rescue, joint special operations, encounter terrorism. Peter Kassig, a former Ranger who was with the 1st Ranger Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment, later became an aid worker in Syria. He was taken hostage by the Islamic State, and ultimately beheaded. Honors. Campaign participation credit: World War II, Algeria, French Morocco, Tunisia, Sicily and LT, Naples, Foggia, Anzio and LT, Romano, Korean War, CCF intervention, First UN counter-offensive, CCF Spring Offensive, UN Summer-Fall Offensive, Vietnam counter-offensive Phase 6, Tet 69, counter-offensive, Summer-Fall 1969, Winter-Spring 1970, Sanctuary counter-offensive, counter-offensive Phase 7, Consolidation I, Armed Forces Expeditions Grenada, Panama, Global War on Terror GWOT, Afghanistan Service Medal, Iraq Service Medal, Valorous Unit Award, Joint Meritorious Unit Award, Decorations, Presidential Unit Citation for the Battle of El Guetar, Presidential Unit Citation for Salerno, Presidential Unit Citation for Pointe du Hoc, Presidential Unit Citation for Saar River Area, Presidential Unit Citation for MYITKYINA, Presidential Unit Citation for CHIPYONGNI, Presidential Unit Citation for HONGCHON, Valorous Unit Award for Vietnam, 2nd Corps Area, Valorous Unit Award for Grenada, Joint Meritorious Unit Award for Panama, Republic of Vietnam Cross of Gallantry with Palm for Vietnam 1969 1970, Republic of Vietnam Cross of Gallantry with Palm for Vietnam 1970 1971, Republic of Vietnam Civil Action Honor Medal, First Class for Vietnam 1969 to 1971, Presidential Unit Citation for Afghanistan, Valorous Unit Award for Iraq.